Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in to the second episode of the lockdown series. Today we're going to talk about urban highline acquisition. And my name is Ruben Langer, and let's get the show on the road. So, that's the spot basically. And first, I'm going to talk you through the guideline, through what we're going to talk about today. First, I want to explain my motivation, why I, back in the day, organized, or like 2 years ago, organized this urban highline spot here. Basically, the whole talk is a rundown of what we did step by step. So yeah, and especially in the second part, I'm gonna talk about our approach, which email or what have been the parts of our email that we wrote, what was in there, what was in our portfolio, and then I'm gonna give some tips about the appointment. And after that, there will be time for a Q&A. So for your questions, and I give my very best to answer everything. Okay, let's start with motivation. Okay, so in this picture, you can see one of my best friends, Jens, in Spain. And we went there 2 years ago, basically to rig the slackline that you can see here. And it was like a massive project. We had to motivate like 10 to 15 people to join us. We had to organize a lot of gear, and we flew there. It was a 10-day trip, and I had to take days of uni just to get this done. And when I was talking to a friend, when I was presenting him my idea, he was like, he's not a slackliner, by the way. He was like, yeah, Ruben, that sounds pretty cool, but can you not do it in Germany? Why do you have to fly all over Europe just to do that? And then I was like, nah, you can't do this in Germany. It's not really possible. But then as I was on trip and as I was thinking, I was like, yeah, maybe this feels a little bit wrong. Like, I'm just here. I mean, I arrived at this valley and it's beautiful and we're having a lot of fun, but that's the only thing I've seen of Spain, basically. That's pretty sad, because literally the only place I know in Spain is this valley, because I spent 10 days there. And yeah, and what we did there is illegal. We didn't have permission, as for most highland spots, and in the end we got sent away by rangers. And then after this experience, I really started to think more about how I want to slackline and I want to, in a sense, live as a slackliner. And then I started to spend the time and the money that I used to spend on airfare and on basically travel. I was spending the time on trying to find or trying to get permission for urban highline spots. And then me and my friends were lucky enough to find this spot close to our house. It was like a 4-minute bike ride to get there every day, in the weekends. And then it was possible to integrate slacklining session into your day, like at least like on the weekend. We can only go there on the weekend, unfortunately, but it was like basically the summer. I didn't have to miss out classes just to rig a great highline. I could just basically go there Friday, rig fastly, and then have a session, and then the same on Saturday morning. And then I would normally go to the library, study for a bit, and then come back for a sunrise session. And it's also with this setup, it's completely legal. and we don't have to fear anymore being sent away by the police. Actually, right now we are having security guards looking after our lines, and yeah, and that's I'm quite happy with that, actually, with that development, so to speak. Okay, here I just summarize this. Okay, minimize highline tourism, because I think the traveling is great, but I mean, if you just travel for slacklining, just to be able to walk through the air, I sometimes find it a little bit shallow. And yeah, and I think it's also a big problem for our highline community that is in many ways very sustainable, but in the traveling and tourism and touring around, it's not. So yeah, I think more people should slack locally, so to speak. And yeah, and this I already mentioned, embed highlining in your day. And yeah, and about the legal aspect. Okay, and now I was already talking quite a lot about the Haber and what it's like. I need to give you some more background information. So the Alberthafen is a Haber in Dresden, which is a city in Germany. It's over here. It's actually quite close to the border of Czech, and it has 500,000 inhabitants. And the Alberthafen itself, as I said, a harbor, and I always mention that it has less traffic. Our summers are getting hotter also here, and you can see that the river every year has less water, and therefore there are fewer cargo ships coming in, so they have a little bit less to do in the harbor. Okay, so that's what it looks like. You can see it's quite central, and we mainly use those two big cranes here, as you can see on this picture. Yeah, between those two cranes you can set up highlines at different heights, and what we are going to do is we're gonna have workshops here already. We're gonna have workshops there. We have planned this already, but then Corona got in the way, unfortunately. But yeah, the idea is to set up highlines at several different heights, so people can then move up. So they can try the same line with the technical difficulty, like the same tension or similar tension, same webbing, and exact same length at like 14 meters, then at 25 meters, and then at 38 meters, for example. And yeah, I'm quite interested to see if it's going to work out, if people are going to learn highlining faster with this method. And yeah, you'll see that when we can go out again. Yeah, we also allowed to do this big line every now and again. It goes to this one, to this building here. It's a flour mill, and we also got permission to rig from there. Here's a pic of it, and yeah, and then we have several lines going over this dock here. And it's the one cool thing is also that we can tell the crane drivers how we want and which position we want the cranes to be. So we can basically create whatever line we want. Yeah, which is quite a cool deal. So next, I'm gonna talk you through the infrastructure of Dresden. And when I say infrastructure, I mean slackline infrastructure. Yeah, I'm gonna do this quite quickly. So we have Slackline Dresden. It's like it's quite an old association, founded in 2009, and it basically tries to keep slacklining in parks legal as most. Yeah, it's just a normal slackline association, and Then 2018, me and my friends, we founded what we call the Connect to Nauten team. It's an unofficial team, and we try to get permission for a Highline project and highlining projects, basically. And yeah, we founded this one basically to combine the qualities of different people into one team. So you're not just one person anymore, but you are like a body with like, yeah, with different people with different strengths inside. Okay, so that's all the background knowledge. And now we're gonna go into the second part where I explain more about the approach, the actual approach. Okay, yeah, so we started by writing an email. And I gave you a little example here of what my mails normally look like, or which parts I include into those mails when I ask for access. Basically, in this first part here, I try to explain what highlining is, because most people have never heard about it before. And then I try to explain here why it would be special or amazing or sick to do it at this particular place. And yeah, and afterwards, here comes a little bit the pitch, so to speak. I tried to sell it to them. I tried to explain to them how or what this would mean for them and why they should, yeah, why they should allow us to do it, or what they could get out of it, basically. And next thing is I'm asking for a meeting in person, because I think that's, yeah, that's like really important. So basically with this mail, I'm not trying to explain every question that might pop up. It's really just the first approach. It's the first time that people are hearing about it. So yeah, it's not supposed to answer all the questions. It's just to get a foot in the door, and then when you're there in person, you can explain further and answer questions. And then I also always attach a portfolio that explains what slacklining actually is. And I'm gonna talk about it in just a second, but we have one more slide on the mail, and that is, yeah, with some hacks that I learned that I learned over time, basically. So this one is about when is the best time in the day to send in this mail. And I looked at a study. This one was about when is the best time to send in an application form, or when will your application be most likely successful. And I found this graph, and basically this is it's peaking around 8 to, more like 7 to 10, but I shifted this a little bit, saying from 8 to 11. And the reason why I personally think this is the best time in the day is, first, the office worker is still fresh and concentrated then, and in like a better mood, so to speak. Second is that if you send it in the morning, it's gonna be on top of their mailing list, or on top of their inbox. So they are really likely to see it. It's very exposed there. If you would send it in the afternoon or in the evening, it's likely that other mails come in, and then it's not at the top anymore. And the third reason for that is that if you especially send it around 10 to 11, they just read it before they go to lunch. And then, at least in my mind, it's like that they're gonna talk about it at lunchtime, and they'd be like, "Oh man, I got this mail here, and some dudes, they want to rig a rope or something. They want to. What do you think about this?" And I think then it's already a little bit like stuck in their head, and it was communicated. Yeah, but I mean, this is no science, but yeah, feel free to try out this trick and let me know. Let me know how it worked out for you. And then, yeah, when you can propose a meeting, a day for a meeting, the best days are Wednesday or Thursday, because people are then in a good mood, because the weekend is inside for them, but it's not anymore, and it's not anymore in their bones. So if you do it on Monday, Tuesday, they might be tired after like the weekend partying, and on Friday, they might be in their mind already planning the weekend or in the weekend. So yeah, Wednesday or Tuesday morning, Thursday morning is yeah, I think a good time to do that. Then again, it's no science, but yeah, feel free to try it. Okay, next I'm gonna talk you to our portfolio that we created. Yeah, we created it back 2018, and yeah, basically first page, meet the athletes. Back then we have been only 5. Now we are 8, and yeah, basically here we're saying our age and where we're from and what we do, like for as a profession, and we also talk about our longest line, so people can, yeah, I guess so people can understand the dimensions. Here we talk about safety first. This means redundancy. Here we're talking about the leash and the anchoring. So that's all the structural safety elements that Highline setup has. And here we also speak about rope access. And here you could also, for example, if you have an ISA rigging certificate, you could also put that in here. So yeah, so people see that you're professional, basically. Yeah, and then we go into references, and here we have some more references. Yeah, it's good to mention that we before we approached the harbor, we actually changed our portfolio a little bit. So we put in more urban stuff, more urban references. Peter luckily already highlined between cranes, so we definitely put that in, and we put some more shows in. Yeah. So yeah, I guess this portfolio fits exactly the needs of Alberthafen, or at least as good as we could get it with our references. And here in this page, we explain how we set it up, the rigging. We're explaining what structures we can rig off, and that if there are no structures, then bolting is like a last resort, basically. Yeah, and technically there are 2 more pages. One is our get in touch page, and one more is just like one picture, basically one big flashy picture to sum it all up. Okay, so next we're gonna talk a bit about the appointment or the interview. And yeah, first we're gonna talk about how you can prepare yourself. And yeah, so I always try to keep in mind that I want to represent myself as trustworthy. And how I try to do that is actually to yeah, to dress up, but like not in a fancy way. I guess people want to see like they still want to see an athlete in you, but you should be like, yeah, you should wear clean clothes. And then this tip, I called it "Bring a Dad," and what that means is you're never gonna do those meetings, or if you don't have to, don't do those meetings alone. Bring somebody. And if you think about whom to bring, I think the best people to bring are dads or moms, because they are in their 30s to 40s. So a bit older than, for example, a bit older than me. I'm 24. They have a ring on their finger, and I think their entire appearance is just more trustworthy because they need to be they are in charge and they're responsible for their family. So they would never do something that is dangerous. Actually, they would never bring harm to their family, and this makes the whole thing, like slacklining or highlining, look a lot more safer in the eyes of an office worker. Then if there's only just one young hotshot that looks kind of like a risk taker, I would say. But yeah, that's purely my experience, and I didn't prove that scientifically. Then another great way how to prepare yourself is actually by having a little presentation ready that you can run on your laptop or on a projector. There you could, for example, take a map or make a screenshot from Google Maps and draw in the lines that you want to rig, so you can explain to them better what you actually want to do. Because most likely, if you've never heard of it and or if you're not a slackliner and not thinking about it all the time and looking at spots and like, oh yeah, you could rig something there, you never you have a hard time imagining where the lines are going to be and where they're going to be attached. So yeah, that's the second tip: be prepared and bring a handout. And the third tip, I called it sympathize, and by that I mean you should you should try to connect with who's in front of you. You should, most likely those people are actually quite proud of where they work, and often when I go to visit a site, it's like getting a guided tour, because then I start to ask about what they do, what kind of what's their work in particular, and then they're always proud and they always open up and talk more. And then I just summed it up with ask as many questions as them. And yeah, I think it makes the whole experience just a lot more enjoyable also for them if you show interest. And also, yeah, another fun story is that a month ago or 6 weeks, I had an interview at Inside, like for a slacklining show, and after the meeting, I got offered a job or an interview to work for their project management, because yeah, they thought I was I don't know, because they thought that it was a nice talk and wanted to integrate myself in the team. So yeah, also if you like, even if you don't get the job or if you don't get the access to the spot in the end, those meetings or those guided tours are often really interesting, and yeah, can help you to develop a feeling for those meetings. Okay, so next slide, not much changed. But here, now I'm gonna quickly run you to the negotiation. Yeah. And that means what is actually our deal with this harbor. And first we thought about what we can offer to them. And then, and basically even before we went there, we thought that our number one option was like doing a show. And yeah, because in the beginning we thought, okay, this spot, it would be maybe a one-time thing. So yeah, we can do a show. And then quickly we decided, okay, but if we do a show, we should ask them not to pay us in money, but give us the access for the spot. Because, and our reasoning was that we that you can get money through through other activities, like for example work, but it's almost impossible to buy access to a spot with money. You can only trade it. So at the beginning we thought, okay, we do a show, but then they quite soon said, okay, they don't really want strangers on their property or spectators. So in the end, they just said, okay, please make some videos, make some photos that we can put on our website. And yeah, and we did that, of course. And it was quite a good deal for them, or they quite happy. It worked out quite well for them, because then filmmakers came, and the spot or the scenes have been integrated into a film about Dresden, like a little, yeah, almost advertisement about the city Dresden, because they want to represent themselves as a sporty and livable city. So yeah, we gave them quite a little bit of exposure. Quite a little bit. And yeah, next part of the negotiation is to look at where you can limit yourself, because I guess you always have to limit yourself. And for us, this means that we have to wear yellow vests on Friday when we set up the line and there is still traffic on the harbor. And we also have to run through a certain procedure, which means, for example, that we have to sign in and have to sign off every time we come. And we also, there's a certain procedure of when we tell them, or when we request the cranes for a weekend, we have to do this like 5 days in advance, obviously, and this and that. So there's a certain procedure to it, so we can't just go as we please. But yeah, we're quite happy to follow these rules. And then liability questions. Yeah, so we basically had to get insurance, which was a little bit of a throwback, because we had to do research for like 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. But yeah, after that we managed it, and we found something quite nice. It's like 200 to 300 bucks a year, but if you split it up by 50 to 60 people, it's like almost nothing per head, per person. So yeah, that's quite, yeah, so that's quite lucky. And we also have to sign a liability waiver. So that, where we basically say that if we hurt ourselves, we won't sue the authorities of the harbor. We do this on our own command and on our own risk. Yeah, so basically that's the deal that we have. But obviously for every spot, for every yeah, highlining site, it's another, it has to be another deal. It's just really to give you an example of what it's for us. Okay, yeah, and here I want to finish on a little quote. It says, run into doors until there's no one on the other side who holds it closed anymore. It sounds way better in German, I promise, but I like it anyway because we had, and because it's fitting, we had quite a lot requests before this one that haven't been successful, where we failed. And then when we actually got, but we kept on going, we kept on looking for spots, looking for permission. And then when we got in, it felt like surprisingly easy. They've been quite happy to work with us. And yeah, so therefore I like this quote. Okay. Yeah, and as I said, this one was just one example, the Alberthafen, where it worked out and how it can look when everything works well. But of course, there are many examples where it didn't went so smoothly and where it didn't went in such a straight line. Okay, and that's the talk for now. And yeah, now it's time for your questions and your also your feedback, please. Yeah.
Hey man, do you want us to type in the questions or ask them via camera and mic?
Yeah, you can just ask them like this. I understand you quite well.
All right, man.
But
well, first of all, good work, man. Thank you for the entire seminar. My name is Mladen. I come from a Serbian crew of Slackliners. I just have a couple of quick tips first, and then a question. The tips are referring to the emails. For you or anybody else wanting to do something similar to this. Across all industries, people usually respond to cold emails between the 7th and 8th touch. All right, so you might have gotten quite lucky, and to be honest, you had a very good, unique selling proposition for them. But just to everybody out there, and to tie into your closing quote, don't give up. Definitely follow up that first email when you send it. That's what I want to say. And like in every email and in your follow-ups, it's always good to have a call to action, which would be a call to a meeting or just for them to respond, so you can move the conversation forward. Yeah, those were the tips, and I have a question for you. It's like a very small detail from your talk. You mentioned security guards guarding your lines, man. Now, I can't imagine that ever happening in Serbia, but we, like a couple of months ago, we had a very unpleasant situation where our longest line was cut because we left it unattended overnight. It was not tensioned, and we had been using it for all of our projects. So we're now kind of tied up. But like, I just want to know how you got security guards guarding your lines. Is that like part of the deal, or?
Okay, first off, I'm sorry to hear that your line got cut. We also had a similar experience in Italy. But yeah, the security guards, they are there already because they belong to the harbor. So yeah, basically they're not only looking after our lines, but as they are looking after the property, they also make sure that nobody is on the cranes at night, that nobody touches our lines. So yeah, it's more a side effect than we actually had to negotiate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm not sure if that helped you, but it's like that for us. Okay, are there any more questions? Hi.
Audible, Rajio?
Sorry, do you just want to maybe type in your question. It's quite hard to understand.
In the meantime, maybe Ruben, you can answer to the question in the chat by Oleg a bit before he asked. Anyone asked you for payment to rig something?
No, like if you intend to ask if somebody asks us if we can pay a fee to rig there, no, then I say clearly no. They've been happy to let us highline there for free without any payments. Okay, on this project, I mean, even on private property. Okay, no, me personally, I never got asked any, like, yeah, I never got asked any money to rig a highline anywhere. It's more like the other way around, that yeah, when you do shows, obviously you want to get paid. What Søren is mentioning there is, I think, this line here in Munich. I'm not sure if you can still see my screen. Yeah, for this stadium line in Munich. Maybe Søren, you can, if you want, maybe tell more about this line there and how they ask you like for money for it, if you feel confident with it. Okay.
Hello, can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, it's Kastas from Lithuania. I was interested how many meetings you are pointing to when they decide to let you settle the lines. Is there any like occasionally meetings number, or it is enough one meeting to make it an agreement with them? And another question would be like when you're sending emails, how many percentage you get feedback and we arrange appointment? Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks a lot for your question. So the first question, if I understood it right, you asked how many meetings or appointments it took to came to before they gave us the permission, basically. So in this case, it was only one meeting in person, where we both explained our ideas. And then what we did was we stayed in touch with them via mail and email, because we had to send our insurance in and they needed to check it if it's all right. And then we did like one test slacklining session. So we were allowed to, in the beginning we were allowed to do it once, and if we behave well, then we can do it another time, or then we can do it more often. And yeah, so after we did the first run, we waited a week, and then we asked, okay, did you hear any complaints about us? And yeah, they also asked around, they asked their staff, they asked their security guys, and they were all happy with us. and then they gave us the permission to do it more frequently or more regularly. And the second question was, yeah, how big is the percentage? Basically, if I don't hear back at all, I wait 1 week to 10 days, and then I first I would call them, and if I don't reach the right person, then I write an email. So I think in the last year or 2 years, I would say almost around, almost around 100%. But I mean, that means also the negative answers I take into account there as well. So, and I mean, positive ones, I would say it takes around 4 requests or something to get 1 positive feedback, to get 1 permission. I hope that was a somewhat helpful answer.
Hey, Ruben, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah.
Just a fast question. How do you, I mean, how is the access on the lines? Have you to climb the cranes? Because I see in this a problem here in Italy with all the safety issues. They will ask us to wear an helmet and so on for a space like that. So how do you overcome this problem?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we normally climb, access the lines over the cranes, and they have like stairways, so you need a certificate to do it. So yeah, we've been quite lucky. But for other lines, you normally need, also here in Germany, need some sort of certificate. But we in the team, we are quite lucky because Peter, one of our teammates, is a rope access technician, and he also is allowed to do trainings. So if for example, for floodlighting masts and stadiums, if you need a special certificate there, then we would just do the course with him, and I guess it would turn out a lot cheaper for us. So yeah, and then again, we've been lucky to have him, and we're very happy to have him because he's a good guy. Yeah, was that sufficient answer to your question?
Yeah, of course. I can understand that it's not so simple. So okay, you were lucky.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No worries. I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure if those certificates also exist in Italy. Because what we have there is, it's not a IRADA certificate, so a full rope access certificate, but it's more called a working at heights certificate. So how to use like carabiners and stuff. So that's enough for climbing. Climbing those stadium floodlighting masts. But once again, for the cranes, we don't need anything, so we can just do it, because there are like stairs and they have handrails on the side.
Okay.
So it's nothing extreme. Yeah, okay. So are there more questions? I'm just reading the chat right now. You managed the insurance fair. We have a similar spot in Finland, like that. So yeah, hi Stefan. So yeah, if you want, I can send you our insurance details in a message. How we manage it. Yeah, again, we've been lucky, or let's say lucky, we had contacts and we used them. So one of the guys in the association, his aunt, she worked for an insurance company, and like that we had like a little bit of an easier first contact, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, as I said, I can send you the details if you just send me a message on Facebook. I will just refer them to you. And that's for everyone. Like if you have any more questions afterwards, after this meeting, just hit me up on Facebook. My name is Ruben Langer. Yeah, I guess you find me through this talk, and I'm doing my best to answer everything. Could be not only in Germany. Yeah, I like here on my way to university, for example, I have like lots and lots of spots where I was like, okay, this would be sick here. And also we have quite a lot of church towers. So yeah, I think this would be interesting as well to rig something from churches. But yeah, in general, yeah, I find it definitely really, really inspiring what the guys in France do from the SDD team. And it would be amazing if yeah, if slacklining in Germany reaches the same level as in French and France. Any plans for to Asia and India? No, at the moment, I don't have any tours in mind. Yeah, I do have a dream spot, by the way. It's in Trento, in Italy. There they have at the city center. They have a sort of cathedral, and yeah, that would be an epic line there. But yeah, I hope that I know that the Italians they are trying to get the permission, and I really hope that I get invited when they succeed. So yeah, and maybe one day, but not sure. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, Monica. Yeah, totally.
And Ruben, just another small question. If someone from outside that's not in the association, in your association, come to the spot, would be allowed to highline or not?
Yeah, so basically the deal is that everybody who goes on the cranes, or not, who goes on the line, needs to have insurance. And so it's the cheapest if they become a member of the association. It's like 15 euros a year, and you get the free t-shirt as well. So, and then you can do it for the rest of the year basically, and you have insurance. So it's in my eyes, it's quite a good deal basically. But yeah,
Sure.
to answer your question, yes, you need to be a member of the association.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, we're also trying to get highlining meeting there, to get like a little festival going there. But then the actual situation, the situation right now is, yeah, makes it a little difficult for us. But yeah, and it would be called, because this would connect to, or in our plans, it was a meeting between organized by Czech and German people, and it would be the Saxonian Highlining International Tour. So that comes down to SEHHIT. It's gonna be the shit tour. Yeah. So if that's going to happen, you will read about it on Facebook. Okay. Any more questions? Otherwise, I would close the session. Or Stereo, it's you're in charge.
Yeah, there's a last question from Thomas in the chat, so I think you can answer the last question, and then if we have no more question, we can quit.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't see Thomas' question. Could you also use such an existing yeah, good question. So in the back when this was a topic, the German, so from my understanding, the German Federation insurance wasn't in place. So, and we had to think about it. Okay, is it worth it to wait for it, or are we just getting our own insurance? And then we decided to get our own, that it was just faster and cheaper to do it. So yeah, then we did it. And yeah, as Red says, we're still waiting for a signature from Philip. Yeah, I'm not so much in the German Federation, but yeah, therefore we yeah, anyway did our yeah, no, it would be nice if we can get insurance to the Federation though. And Cuba, yeah, I mentioned before that we are planning an Highland meeting, Highland Festival. Right now we are limited to only 100 participants. So in the first year it's going to be a bit smaller, but hopefully it's growing. And yeah, and that's also the plan for the spot, to grow it slowly but sustainable. Okay. No worries, Kuba. Okay. If that's it, then thank you very much and stay safe.
Thanks, Ruben. Ciao, ciao.
Yeah. Ciao, ciao. Alla prossima.
Thank you very much, everyone who joined, and see you the next workshop. Thanks, Ruben, very much.
Yeah, no worries. I hope helped, or I hope it was interesting